Hi, my name is Beth Saunders, and today we're going to be learning how to preserve old documents. I've been looking forward to this a long time because I have some old documents that have been passed down through my family. As a genealogist, these things are just full of treasure information. I know there are some deeds in there, maybe some tax receipts from the 19th century. But I have been waiting to share this with you. I mean, I've looked through these a little bit, maybe a couple of years ago, but I wanted to preserve them the right way. And I wanted to share with you how I do that. So let's get started. This is a box that belonged to my great-grandmother. So this is equivalent to a shoebox that you might have in your house. And we may talk another day about photographs, but because that's a whole nother thing. But this one is full of documents. So I'm not planning to put these in a scrapbook, and I may scan some of them someday. That's a great way to share them and preserve the information in them for future use. But for today, we're going to preserve the actual documents themselves because I like to have them. And sometimes you don't have time to scan everything right away. So you want to keep them in as good a shape as possible. You want to keep them in as good a shape as they came to you. So let me see if I can tilt the screen down and you can see what I'm looking at. Okay. So what we have in this particular box, this is a cute little, it was probably a stationery box. It has the ribbons holding the top together. And first, before I do anything, I'm going to take a photograph, if you'll just bear with me. When you find things in a box or, you know, the shoe boxes and such, they have acid in them and they're not the perfect storage bin, but they are actually better than some of the plastic tubs and containers that we have now that might have lots of chemicals in them. So it's sort of, and if this has kept it safe for 100 years, then I decided a few years ago that this could keep it safe for a few more. And I wanted to leave them in the way that she had stored them. But what I'm going to do now is take a picture so I'll know how they came to me. Okay, so now I have a record of that. All right, and I have some gloves. I'm going to use my bare hands for some things, and I may use gloves for some things. So there are lots of opinions on gloves. So just a really quick discussion is that if you have clean hands, and I just washed my hands, and you handle things very carefully, then pulling the items out, or if I'm handling an old book, you know that my other business is antique and vintage books, turning the pages, you can actually be more careful and handle fragile items better with your bare fingers, or in some of us, in my case, fingernails. So that's actually a more gentle way to turn the pictures or open things up. However, if you're going to be transcribing or scanning or touching the surfaces a lot, then you definitely need some gloves. And also, not everybody knows how to handle things carefully. So in the archives, we usually hand gloves to the researchers because it just gives them a sense that this is something that needs to be treated carefully. And there are some people out there that they just need that reminder not to do silly things like lick their fingers when they turn a page. So this side over here, this was on top. And let's see what that is very quickly. I'm going to just open it up. I believe it is a plat of properties. So that's the first thing we have, which as a genealogist is a wonderful thing. And what I'm going to do with these deeds is I am going to put them in an archival box with archival folders. This is a legal size because I knew I had deeds in here, but you can also get letter size. And I got this from Hollinger Metal Edge, and there are probably some other companies that sell them as well. So it's cardboard, but it's acid-free and buffered so that it protects your documents. And then the same thing with these file folders. It says on the back in the little impression, these are acid-free and lignin-free. So they won't harm my papers, and they'll protect them, as I said, as good as I got them. So I have some letter size and some legal size. And let's take this, I think I will put one glove on here to unfold it. By the way, cotton gloves will do as long as they're clean. I have nylon gloves because I handle a lot of photographs and negatives, and they tend to leave less fibers behind. Be very careful when you're opening things that have been creased. They usually get very weak along the creases. And it looks like I'm going to need, put this in one of the legal file folders here. If the corners are creased, sometimes you just want to leave them as they are. It's up to you whether you try to open them, but they can break if they've been very creased for a long time. Okay, so put a fold here in my folder. Now I don't know what all I have yet, but when I do find out, it's kind of like what I did at the archives. I did a lot of these. I'm going to put a label in pencil at the top. When you're working with original documents, you never want to bring a ballpoint pen or any other kind of pen. You always want to work with pencil because, oops, you know, things happen. So just have pencils around so that in case something happens, then you can erase. Okay. So starting with this, and then I'm going to pull out the next thing in the pile. That's a little awkward to get with my glove. So see how I'm able to be a little more agile with my finger, but when I spread it out and touch the surface of it, I want to use my glove. See, so that's a deed. And then I would keep going with this pile of deeds, and there may be some letters, I don't know yet, but I'm going to try to keep them in the order that I found them. That's pretty important sometimes. Although most of these things have dates on them, sometimes you have something that doesn't have a date, and then the order may help you figure it out. And when I get all those in here or in some more folders, then I'll put them in my storage box here. Okay, next. All right, after the deeds, there's this, what looks like a wallet. It's tied up with string, and that's kind of why I took a picture. Sometimes you can't get things exactly the way they were, or you can't remember how they were. You know, was that tied with a bow, or how many times was it wrapped around? It's not always important, but sometimes it is something you would want to recreate. So this wallet, and I've peeked through some of these things, but not in detail. This is full of receipts. I believe most of them are property taxes. So this is my great-grandfather, F.W. Manus, because my grandfather was F.V. Manus, his son. And this is dated 1927. So what I will do is I will take one of these smaller folders and put these in there. And again, try to keep them in order. I like to put a crease in these. They come with little pre-creased areas, but it keeps things from slouching around in your box later on. When you don't put the crease in, sometimes it kind of goes like that after time. And this helps a little bit. So put these in here. Let's see, where did this one go? This one went behind. And I'm just curious, of course. It's Beeson Hardware Company. I remember that. That used to be uptown. So for some, I think it's for some bales of hay or something, a whole lot of them. Okay, put that in there. And then I would go through and I would similarly do the other things in the wallet, which look to be probably all receipts, but of course I want to look all through them. And I will unfold some of these things. This is 1942, and this is for taxes. I'm pretty sure there are some older things in here from what I've seen in the past. Let's see what this one is in the back. Another hardware company. So we'll put that in here too. So you never want to put rubber bands around these. Rubber bands get just awful over time. They stick to papers, they get really stiff and they break. And you don't want to put any metal paper clips. If these things have metal paper clips on them, you want to gently remove them. Staples are a similar story. If you can, you want to remove metal staples because they're going to rust and they're going to put rust stains on your papers. But if they're hard to remove, if, for example, that onion skin paper that people used to type on, you might want to just leave the staple because it's not worth the damage that it would cause. But definitely get rid of metal paper clips, but you can use the vinyl covered paper clips because those don't rust onto your documents. And then the wallet, I may just put back in the box. Maybe in the future, we'll do some kind of little display that it belonged to my great-grandmother. When these things first come to you, if you want to, just leave things in. For example, a man's wallet that may have pictures and identification and a mix of things. It's okay to just leave it in the wallet, however you want to preserve it for your family. And the last thing in here is a little box, also tied up with string. Looks like it started out its life as a little Christmas box. So let's see what's in there. Maybe a little hard to do with my glove. The bottom of the box is a little weak. So there's a crack and you can see through it. So we'll see what we can do. I might have to go get my multi-tool. Yeah, let's go do that. I'll be right back. In my other video, this is what I used to get pictures out of the sticky albums. This is a multi-tool. I sell these through Creative Memories, and it's just really handy. See if this will help. Oh, there's, looks like some writing on the bottom. It's very faint pencil. There we go. And I think it's going to be more receipts. And this is also recent years. This is a great uncle of mine, Randolph County taxpayers receipt for 1932. Let's see what else is in here. I have to take them out one at a time. This might help. There we go. Let's see what this is. F.W. Manus, it's my great-grandfather again, and this is April the 17th. Looks like 1935, Junior Order United American Mechanics. And it's receipts. That was in the middle. That's a 1930 taxes and Trinity. And let's see what's on the bottom here. January 10th, 1929, a handwritten receipt. Doesn't say to whom. Probably ripped out of a notebook. Here's one more. You can see air through the box there. This is another great uncle. Groceries, hardware, and feed, 1921. So not quite as old as I was thinking, but still definitely treasures and worth preserving. And I'm planning to unfold these and put them in order in one of these folders. And again, just the same way I did for the deeds. And sometimes when you take them out, they won't fit back in exactly the way they were. And I'm going to have so much fun, especially with the deeds, figuring out some details about my family, like when they moved to this town, some things that are maybe more recent than what you find in the census and other records. Although actually my family kind of disappears in the 1910, 1920 census. So I'm hoping that these will fill in some of the gaps. So if you're interested in more heritage kind of things, please be sure and subscribe to my email list. And I thank you very much for watching. And I would appreciate any questions that you have. I would be glad to answer them.